So it's really important to understand that Longhorn itself is just going to be or shipping with Longhorn is a next version of the .NET framework.
Right.
And so Windows Forms is part of the .NET framework. So first of all, with Longhorn, it's just like, a new version of, or your version of XP. If you were on previous versions of some client operating system, whether it's NT4 or Windows 2000, you had the .NET framework and you could install it on there and you could run it. This is just another version, but this ships with the .NET framework. It ships with Windows Forms. Your Windows Forms apps you have today, they'll just work on Longhorn. So in terms of preserving your investment, it just works. It's just like you shouldn't expect Excel to stop working if you run on Longhorn. Same with your Windows Forms app. Now, Longhorn does have a new improved managed API that allows you to do more interesting user interface type of, say, transformations, or has some more interesting user interface elements. And we recognize that that's a big goal of Avalon and Longhorn, and so we've done a lot of work to make it so that you can take your Windows Forms components and use them within a Longhorn application or an Avalon application. So, for example, you develop an application that targets the Longhorn platform, but you've developed and have some existing Windows Forms controls you want to use in there. You can use them in there. That will work just fine. The same way as if you have an existing application that you basically, as a Windows Forms application, that you're maybe taking your whole enterprise and rolling Longhorn out to your whole enterprise. So you can comfortably leverage up-level platform capabilities. We've also done a lot of work to make it so that you can take Avalon controls and use them directly in your WinForm application. So there's really this seamless...
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you can use so you'll be able to put Avalon inside WinForm.
Absolutely.
Apps.
Yeah,
I knew we could put WinForm components inside Avalon apps. But
yeah, it'd be great follow-on talk, because we have lots of demos that show that today and show the level of integration we're talking about. We're not talking about a simple opaque ActiveX type thing where you shove the control in there and it just works, and it's sort of, there's not a lot of communication between that control and the host. For example, shoving a Avalon control in a Windows Forms application and having no interaction between the two. We've actually done a lot of work to sort of unify the data binding models so that you can actually sort of share what I'll call currency. But you can have a people picker, for example, that you get from Avalon, and you can bind that to the same set of data that you can your WinForms. So there's a lot of levels that we've taken the integration and put it at a much lower level than we had before. It's just not I'm putting a window and pasting it in here and not interacting with it. You're actually going to interact with it in a much more natural layer than you may have been used to in terms of what you expect for an interop type layer. We don't like to call it interop because it's just more sort of naturally how we design these two things to just work together from the ground up.